Hiya.
Hello.
Welcome to the Geeky Girls Knit podcast. I'm Cece, also known as Java Pearl.
I'm Dammy, also known as Dammy's Doodles.
And we're glad to have you today. Today is Thursday, the 21st of February, 2019, and this is episode 333. The only way it would have been cooler if it had happened on the 3rd of March, 2033.
3,333.
Yes, that would have been really at
the 33rd of March.
3:33 a.m. That would have been very cool. But alas, we are only time travelers within a week's time. So we'd like to say a big welcome back. We love you guys. To all our returning viewers, and a big hiya to any new viewers. Thanks for giving us a shot. We hope you enjoy the show. Dammy, nobody introduced themselves to the rivalry group this week. Would you please, sad face, would you please tell people what they should do and why?
You should join our group on Ravelry and introduce yourself in our introductions thread because you'll get a shout out on the next episode and be able to participate in all our owls and giveaways.
That's right. We have quite a bit to talk about this week. I have stacks on the table right here behind the computer that you cannot see. So we should probably get started. Here we go.
And now we're going to talk about what is on our needles.
Dammy, what's on your needles?
I'm still working on the straightforward mitts by Mona Drager. It's on US 3.25 millimeter needles, and the yarn is Penguin Soup Emperor Dock in the Baker colorway. And yeah, I'm trying. End of the quarter's coming up too quickly.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I realized yesterday when I was working on my Bujo for March that we're almost through 1/6 of the year already.
Mm-hmm.
How is that possible? Craziness. I don't know. Craziness. Such craziness.
So, I'm just going to not say anything else. And what are you working on?
Okay. I am working on my 10-stitch zigzag blanket, which is a free pattern by Frankie Brown. I'm on US 4's 3.5 mil needles. Have 62 stripes done. I'm 89% done with the blanket, and I'm on the 63rd stripe, which is Ginger's hand-dyed pleating velvet 4-ply in the Heart of the City colorway. I'm halfway. I think I'm over halfway through that stripe. So, yeah. So making progress, and I will be finishing it during the Stash Trash. I am working on Dammy's 2018 Christmas socks, belatedly, because life happens, people. I'm using my French Vanilla Cappuccino sock pattern and incorporating Hermione and Crookshanks pattern by Sandra C. I used US 1.5, 2.5 mil needles, US 2.5, 3 mil needles, and I'm using West Yorkshire Spinner's signature 4-ply self-striping in the Fairy Lights colorway and Vinilana Dream in the Tapenade colorway. So I finally finished the first sock. And I think I had told y'all last week, Dammy, did I talk about having to rip the cap back out?
I honestly don't remember. I think it was after.
So I had to rip the cap back because it wasn't fitting. No, I did talk about it because you tried it on. Remember? Before you left?
Sure. That is definitely what happened.
So I had to rip it back and then make my floats really loose and just told Dammy, don't catch your toes on them. And then I think last week when we were recording that I was working on the ribbing and I was doing it as a 2x2 ribbing and then tried to put it on over my heel and it didn't fit because I went back down to the US 1.5 needles. So I ripped it out, and if I'd been thinking, I would have used the US 2.5 needles for it, but I didn't. So, but it does go over your heel. You'll be able to wear it. Just have to be gentle with it. And I will block it as well. So hopefully that will help stretch it out some too. So there's sock number 1 complete. How cute are the little kitties? Crookshanks. And I am working on sock number 2, and I have 3 more rows till the heel. So I'm making good progress on that. I'm still working on my new design, which is My Favorite Murder inspired wrap, which will be a mystery knit along. Stay tuned for more details on that. I'm going to use 2.5, 3 mil and US 4, 3.5 mil needles using Suburban Stitcher Sock and the Triflers Need Not Apply colorway. And then the last thing, I almost knocked over my water. That would have been really bad. The last thing I'm working on is the replacement baby blanket for my nephew Waylon. If you want to hear what happened to the other one, go back like 2 or 3 episodes and you'll find out. So I am using the malt pattern by Tin Can Knits, but I've modified it. And I'll tell you that in a minute. I'm on US 8's 5 mil needles, and I'm using Lion Brand Heartland yarn in the Glacier Bay and Kings Canyon colorway. So this is what I've got, and the yarn is much richer in person. It looks kind of drab. So this is a green and this is a blue. So in the original pattern, it had the garter stitch around the edges, and then all this green here in the main part of the blanket was stockinette stitch, and here in the blue was garter stitch. And I was like, I don't want to purl all those rows, because I had sworn off knitting blankets other than working on my zigzag blanket, and if Dammy has any children in the future, I will then knit blankets for them. But I had sworn off knitting blankets. So I was like, I'm going to flip-flop this around, and so the majority of it is garter stitch with just this blue in stockinette. And I think I have 10 more rows with the blue, and then I'll just be doing garter stitch of the green. I bought two, I think I talked about it last week, but I bought 2 more skeins of the green so that I would have enough to knit it. So I'm looking forward to getting through the blue part, because then it's going to fly, because I won't be having to yarn manage 3 balls of yarn and trying to make sure they get locked in correctly, so that there's not holes, because I'm using Intarsia technique to make that happen, so that I didn't have to either weave in a lot of ends or carry it along the back, which would have kind of been a pain. And I don't know that I would be afraid that he might like catch his toe in it or finger in it while he was sleeping. So I thought that was the best option. All right, that is everything that I am working on. So we're ready to move on to the next segment.
And now we're going to talk about her finished projects.
2 projects. I have 2. So the first one is my weekly preemie hat. This is number 7 for the year. I used my free top-down preemie hat pattern that you can download from Ravelry. It's on US 6's 4 mil needles, and I used the Space Cadet Ombre and Gradient mini skeins in the Headstrong Ombre MS 1404 colorways, and Neighborhood Fiber Co. Rustic Fingering in the Roland Park colorway. So I didn't have as much left of the gradient as I thought. So I was like, I just need something complimentary for like the last little bit. I think I had to do I needed to do 1 more row of ribbing in the bind off. So I had this just like cream color in my stash. So I just pulled it. Thought it worked. If I had done this, if this had been last week's hat where I had it flip-flop where the lightest was at the top and the darkest was at the bottom, I don't think it would have looked as good. But, I mean, it still would have been fine. But I think I like it better with it turning into the cream after the lightest color of the gradient. So my friend Sarah, who is Yarn Enthusiast on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure on Ravelry too, put out a call because she has a friend who has chronic health issues, similar to that. You know, I have chronic health issues. Obviously, y'all know that. And Sarah also has an autoimmune disease. But this friend of hers has been getting worse, and she's becoming pretty much bedbound. And so Sarah wanted to do something nice to brighten up her room and everything. So she put out a call for bunting triangles that she could then string around the room. So she had us use the Bunting Fit for a Queen pattern by Vero Pepperell, and it used US 2.5 3 mil needles. So the first one that I did which this is actually kind of cool because it's a self-striping. So this is Premier Yarn Serenity Sock Prints in the chili colorway. And I love how wide it makes the stripes. So there's that one. And then I used, while I had the Neighborhood Fiber Co. Rustic Fingering in the Roland Park colorway out, I just made one out of cream. And then you string it together through these eyelet rows. And I had a thought that, wouldn't it be cool to make bunting triangles to like hang around a room or something? Maybe in the future, not today, but maybe in the future, that might be a cool, fun thing. So, and that's everything I've finished. So I think we should move on to the next segment because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And now it's time for our favorite part of the show, Yummies. What are yummies, Tammy?
Yummies are our current favorite things we like, things we want to talk to you about.
Yummies. And I went to Madrona with Janine and had a great time. And funnily enough, neither she or I, or is it neither she nor I?
I don't know.
Anyway, neither one of us bought yarn, any yarn at all, which is kind of funny. But I did get a few things. I had actually been watching Diane, the Suburban Stitchers podcast, on Friday morning before Janine got here to pick me up. And Diane was talking about that she had gotten a new wrist ruler bracelet in, I can't remember what color she said, like a honey tan color or something. And I was like, yeah, I've seen those around. Those are kind of cool. I wonder if anybody will have them at Madrona. Well, they did. So this one is made by ilovehandles.com, but I bought it from Acorn Street. And I got the 17-inch in the gray colorway. So there it is. And it measures in both inches and centimeters. And I've been wearing it pretty much nonstop, trying to soften it up a little bit. I haven't worn it to bed or in the shower or anything, obviously, but just around the house when I've been out or when I went out to knitting group last night, I've been wearing it. So, yeah. So I really, really like it. Janine got one too. I think she got teal, if I'm remembering right. Okay, so I went to the, I think I have a thing here. Barmaids that does the Lolo bar.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bring it in here. It's actually beside my bed. I bought a stick of their cuticle intensive that's like a really tall, tiny, like narrow, like glue stick kind of thing where you rub it on your cuticles and then massage it in. But I also got a Lolo body bar, and I got the Winter Bliss scent. And I like it because it has a nice scent, but it doesn't overpower, because I have trouble with when yarn I've gotten yarn that has had scent added to it. When it's too strong, I can't wear perfume. There are certain stores in malls that I have to like walk on the other side of the building to stay away from the scents, because it can really trigger for me. So, yeah. And then I bought this adorable little pouch from Chicken Boots, which she's going to be taking a break from Chicken Boots. So if you're interested, you should check out her site, because she is selling quite a bit of her stuff. She's going to be doing this, or I think she's actually already started this new project called So Live. It's a live sewing stream. Professional sewing content, but with an approachable take on how to get the job done as easy as possible and with incredible results. So she's going to do that. So I bought this cute little pouch. The reason I picked this one is because I loved this adorable. This is I think she said it was from her Halloween fabric from this last year. But I thought that was adorable. It's marketed as a stitch marker case. I'm actually going to use it as a coin case in my purse because I don't have a separate little pocket for coins and they get thrown around. So,
I heard that.
I know somebody wanted to call me. Spam. All of it is spam. So yeah, I picked that up. And so I really liked that. And then at the Canon hand dyes booth, I saw she had some enamel pins, which I really liked, but then I saw she had stickers, and there was one I really wanted, but she was selling them as a set of 3, so I got a set. So the one I was really, really wanting was Nevertheless She Knitted. Just beautiful. I got Follow Your Bliss. And I got Ballers. Just hysterical. So I'm not sure where I'm going to put these yet, but I really like them a lot. Okay. So from this business called the Tempestry Project, which is actually a really amazing thing, because I was curious. I was like, what is this? I want to know more about it. So I went online and looked at it. All these places are linked in the show notes. So if you want to go look for your own stuff, go to the show notes, geekygirls.com. So the Tempestry Project, they put together kits for you to do this like wall hanging piece, which could also be done like as a scarf or whatever. But they research for you the year and the location that you want to focus on. And then they put a kit together for you based on the temperatures for every day of that year. And they do beads for precipitation. And it's really, really cool. I actually thought, I don't think that Dr. Hubbs watches the podcast much anymore. He doesn't really have a lot of time to do that. I thought it would be cool to modify it to do one from the year he completed his PhD with the Edinburgh, Scotland temperatures for that day, and make it into a stole for his ordination. I thought that would be really, really cool. So you should check out the Tempestry Project. But what I bought from her are called needle wranglers. They come in 3 sizes. Mini, which is US 0 to 3 needles. Standard, which is US 40 11, and Jumbo, which is US 13 to 19. I bought 1 mini and 1 standard. And this is what they look like. That's the mini. That's the standard. And what you do this way is you find the right size notch and stick your needles through, and it keeps your stitches on the needles while they're in your project bag. Now, I bought orange because it's my second favorite color, because she didn't have pink. And typically this bright orange is not my color, but just out of what color she had, that's what I went with. But she did tell me that they are planning, if they sell well, to do pink ones and teal ones. So I really like these. You should check them out. They are fun, and they were relatively inexpensive. So that's a fun thing. I finally, after years of knowing them online and them reviewing our books and all kinds of stuff, met Leslie and Laura from the Knit Girls podcast. And I got a swag from them. It's a tape measure on a carabiner. Actually, it's actually pretty cool because you can watch when it retracts. Mm-hmm. You can see it do it inside. So I didn't get pictures with them. They had mistaken which day they had classes, so they only had just a few minutes to talk. But it was lovely to meet them. And then the last thing, they had a sample of it in the booth, but they had sold out of the last one, so we're doing it by mail. They're going to ship it to me. From Northwest Yarns, which is in Bellingham, Washington. They had cross-stitch kits. Mm-hmm. and I'm getting one that says bollocks, which is hysterical. I know there is an interpretation of the word that can be not very nice, but there is also, it's become a more mainstream word with that not being the connotation. It's more of a shucks or darn or whatever, you say like that. And I had forgotten about it until I was talking about it at knitting group last night, that Murdoch Mysteries, which we watch and love, Inspector Breckenridge says bollocks all the time. So it cracks me up. So I had a really great time at Madrona with Janine. Excuse me, with Janine. I saw some people in person again that I had seen at other events that I'd been to up and around here, and I met some podcast viewers that I had not met before. So that was a lot of fun. So this was the last Madrona. The people that organize it are retiring, but some other people that have been affiliated with Madrona are stepping in and doing a new event called, I think it's Red Adler. So I'll be excited to see what the differences are. The only issue we had was parking was very limited. We had to stalk some people that were walking out, leaving, and being like, "Are you leaving? Are you parked in this lot? Can we have your spot?" And having to wait for them to leave, because it was just, without having to walk super far, it was kind of limited. But that was the only issue we had. And then, of course, just because we don't have them here in our local area, we had to go to Chick-fil-A and Krispy Kreme. And it was good. And I was even kind and brought Krispy Kreme home. Unfortunately, Dammy wasn't here, so she did not get any. Womp womp. One day. Dammy, you went to 2 exciting things this last week. Why don't you tell us?
Yes, I went to Rock of Ages at the Fifth Avenue Theater and Arsenic Gold Lace at Taproot Theater.
So tell me what you thought of them.
They were fun. They were both comedy, but in different ways. And so Rock of Ages was a little inappropriate, so just a note.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. If you could be in each of those, what role would you want to play?
Would probably be Sherry in Rock of Ages, and
who is she? What does she like?
She's the main female lead. She's idealistic. She wants to be an actress, and then things go wrong.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then I think it would be fun to be Mortimer in Arsenic Gold Lace.
Which is who?
He is the main male lead. He's the one at the center of all the drama.
Okay. Well, that's fun.
His family is nuts.
I seem to remember that from, I think I've read Arsenic and Old Lace before, but it's been years, probably back in junior high or high school. So, but I did put links to both of those shows at the theaters in the show notes. So if you want to go see them in your local, there's a link there. The lovely ladies, Tin Can Knits, Alexa and Emily. Alexis and Emily. Why
Alexa.
Alexa? Is it Alexa? I'm second guessing myself all of a sudden. I'm pretty sure it's Alexa. Y'all will forgive me.
It is Alexa.
Okay. So back, I'm trying to see when it was that they originally put this pattern out. Okay, so back in 2012, they released a cardigan pattern called the Antler Cardigan. That is an Aran weight cardigan, and sizes run from baby all the way to 4XL. So baby to large, very large. It was part of their Pacific Knits book. And then just this past week, they released it again as a pullover instead. And the cardigan was knit in Aran weight, and the antler is knit in worsted weight. So there's a little bit of a difference in the yarn. And again, the size is 0 to 4XL. And it's got beautiful cables on it to make the antler pattern. As well as they have links in the pattern page that are tutorials that help you choose your sweater size, show you how to cable, and how to knit a bottom-up sweater. So this is a one that could be fun for if you have like maybe knit your first sweater and now you want to do something a little more difficult. But it's beautiful. I love it. And I think it's a lot of fun. So thank you to Tin Can Knits for sending it over our way. Did you look at it, Danny?
No.
I didn't know if you had any other thoughts on it besides what I said.
That's a nice pullover.
It is. It's very pretty. And it is.
Those are my thoughts.
It's not like overly feminine. It is definitely something that a man could wear. Sometimes there's certain elements that, I'm fine with people wearing whatever they want to wear. As long as I'm not seeing parts of their body that I don't think should be seen in public, I'm fine. That's my 2 cents. But you have your own 2 cents, and that's great. But yeah, sometimes there are certain design elements that lean more towards the feminine or more towards the masculine. So I love patterns like this that are very, very much works for either gender. So, but yeah, thank you to them for sending the pattern our way. Yeah. And next we got our monthly Knit Crate box. So this yarn is so squishy. This is Audine Wools by Knit Crate. This is their Halo DK base. And the colorway we got is Electric Abalone. Is it Abalone or Abalone? Do you know?
I don't know.
Abalone.
I can tell how to spell it. I don't know how to say it. It's probably abalone.
Okay, we'll go with that.
It looks like it's Spanish.
We'll go with that. Well, whatever it is squishy, yummy goodness because it is 50% alpaca, 30% merino, 20% nylon, 100 gram skein, 236 yards, 215 meters. Abalone. I heard that.
It's abalone.
Oh,
I didn't know you could hear that.
Yes, I did hear it. Sorry. So anyway, it's reading more purple on the screen, and it's actually more blue. Purples and blues can be really hard to show. Like the hue of it is right, but it's reading more purple on the screen than it is. But it's really beautiful. It's really soft. Unless it's one that you want, Dammy, we'll put it in our prize box to be given away. So, yeah. And then, so here is the pattern booklet for this month. So the inspiration came from forgetting your worries and diving into a palette of happy, energizing tones. It's all about fun stuff, yarn, color, texture, and excitement. Negativity need not apply. So they were kind of inspired by these color palettes. And it came in 2 colors. So it came in the blue and the green. The knit pattern is called the Belita by Kiri Fitzgerald. And it is a scaling skinny triangle that sits somewhere between a shawl and a scarf. Knit with US 8's 5mm needles. They say the skill level is intermediate. It has a picot bind off and a lace section. But they do, I love this. I won't show it super close, but they give you the chart, but they also give it all written out, which is what we do with our patterns, just to make sure it's accessible to everyone. And then the crochet pattern is the Belle Askew by Jen Hayes Creations. And this is, she says, it's a combination of basic stitches shining against this not so basic shape. Uneven sides create a skewed beauty of a shawl. And it's done with a US H8 5mm hook. And she says that the skill level is beginner. It has a bobble stitch as its kind of design element. And then there is an article about how to perform a crafting reset. And then I wish we had gotten a sock box, because look at that sock yarn for this month.
Mm-hmm.
That totally screams CC. And I actually really kind of like the sock pattern. It's called the Striped Lightning pattern by Maeve Zana Designs.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, she says, it's electrifying socks featuring twisted stitches that help the cables pop against the busy background of a variegated yarn. It's knit with US 1's 2.25 mil needles, and it's knit cuff down, so I would modify it if I were to knit it. It comes in 4 sizes, though. She says skill level is intermediate. But I could use the chart and the details to like recreate the sock and do it toe up. So, and then March's theme is going to be whisper, and here's kind of their inspiration.
Ooh.
I'm excited. It feels like it's going to be some kind of like really serene, peaceful. So there's a link in our show notes where you can use a coupon code. The coupon code is all capital letters, Geeky, Geeky, and the number's 20. And that will get you 20% off your first order. It will work to discount the first month of a recurring monthly subscription and or any of their shop items. So thank you again to Knit Crate for sending that our way. I'm going to get another sip of water. I caught another cold. This has been just a bad, you gave me a really weird look. Is everything okay?
Because you didn't have to get another sip of water to start again.
Oh, well, but I was trying to explain. We're having some issues with technology today, and things are freezing, and we're having to redo them. I got a sip of water because I got sick again. I've had so many freaking colds this season that I'm just about to lose my mind. But this one gave me like really bad dry mouth, which the worst is like after you've slept the night and you wake up and you're like, I'm like, my mouth is like the parched desert. Have you ever had your mouth feel that way?
Yes.
Okay. My sweet friend Mel and her kids got me a Valentine's Day present, but I hadn't seen them because of Snowmageddon. So I had coffee with her, and the kids were hanging out, and the Dr. Hubs and her husband were doing something. And so they gave me this cute little present. How adorable is that? And can you read it?
Yes.
Check me out and make today perfect. And then it has a little tag on it that they wrote on the other side. But I'm like, I'm going to take a string off of that and hang it on my bulletin board. And then they gave me a box of, I've never tried this brand before, Charbrew Refresh Tea. Oh, it's actually made in Manchester, England. Which now makes sense why there is the I in Big Ben and double-decker bus. This one has the mint leaves, star anise, melissa, and lemongrass in it to feel refreshed and revitalized. So I am very excited. I think I'm going to have a cup of tea this afternoon. one of my medicines that I have to take during the midday starts making me sleepy around like 4 o'clock. So that would be perfect to have a cup of tea to revitalize myself when I start feeling sleepy. So, okay, that was really, really a lot of stuff to show y'all. Normally we don't have that much stuff, but oh, and I have pink pom-pom earrings too for the win. They're very soft and I like them a lot. Do we have anything else before we move into our normal stuff?
No.
All right, let's talk about hashtag GGK Crafty Pad. What is it, Dammy?
It stands for Geeky Girls Knit Crafty Photo a Day Challenge. We have a list of photo prompts for each month. So take a look at the prompt for that day, take a picture related to it, and post it anywhere you like. But we pick our favorites from Instagram.
That's right. So this month, February, we're still doing our alphabet soup month. And we will release the prompts list for March next week. But March is our color month. So all of the prompts are either colors or something relating to colors like bright or neon or stripes or whatever. So that will be a fun one to do as well. So what are we about to show them?
2 photos from us that we liked and 5 photos from other people that we liked.
Here come the photos. Great job, everybody. Yay. So it's never too late to join in. What you do is look at the prompt for the day. And I don't say this very often, but we have, when we release the new prompt list, we put it up on our website, geekygirlsknit.com. And in that post, there is a link to where you can follow us on the social medias. But also, we post all the prompts on Google Calendar. And it's one that you can subscribe to. So if you use Google Calendar and you want to participate in GGK Crafty Pad and want that reminder, feel free to subscribe to that calendar and it'll just add it to your Google Calendar. And that may make it a little easier. That's what I do is I look at my calendar to see what is next. So today, Thursday, what day did we say it was? The 22nd? 21st. When we're recording this, the prompt is T is for. The letter T is for. And you interpret that however you wish. We're very cheater friendly on this. And then you post it on Instagram. Make sure in the caption you use hashtag GGK Crafty Pad and yours might get chosen. If you have a private Instagram account and you are participating in GGK Crafty Pad, you need to make sure that Dammy's Doodles is following you. So send her a private message because otherwise we can't see your photos. So, okay, upcoming events. The Pacific Northwest Yarn Crawl is coming up the 2nd through the 5th of May. And I put a link to their website in the show notes. This year there are 10 shops, but one of them is a pop-up shop in one of the yarn shops. So there's 9 locations to go to, but 10 participating vendors / shops. So Jeannie and I haven't talked about what day we're going to go yet. That's a little ways out, but I will be going with Janine on one of the days to do the yarn crawl. Is that all the events that we have coming up?
Yep.
I think so. All right. Well, let's move on to the next segment.
And now we're going to talk about what we are reading, watching, and listening to.
So what are you reading, Dammy?
I am still reading Respect for Acting by Uta Hagen and Secret Pauses by Abel Yamasaki and The Glass Scientists, which is a webcomic by Sabrina Katungo.
Do you know what question I'm going to ask?
Yes.
Do you have more respect for acting today than you'd had a week ago today?
Well, I had a test on the book today, so right now I just don't want to think about respecting acting. I just want to do other things.
How do you feel that you did in your test of how much respect you have for acting?
None of us really felt ready for it, but I think at least 85, 90. I read the book, and so.
Is this with the professor that had the accident?
Yeah.
One of Dammy's professors fell in the snow on the ice during Snowmageddon. And has she had surgery or is having surgery?
She has had surgery. There's a rod in her tibia or something like that, and she's on to recovery.
So do they know when she's going to be back?
Nope.
And they'll have to figure out how to accommodate because the theater is an older building, so it does not have accessibility.
Yeah.
So, well, we send our good wishes to Candace that she recovers quickly. So the question you thought I was going to ask you was, so are you getting your 15 minutes a day in?
Yes.
What am I referring to?
The January, February, March, read along.
Yes. So this year we are doing the quarterly read-alongs, 3 months long each, but we are also doing a year-long challenge. So the basic rules for this is you need to read 15 minutes a day and report it in the finish line threads. There's info there on how you do it. If you have any questions, there's a chatter thread. Come on over, or feel free to send us a PM if you want to ask privately. There are prizes both for the quarterly read along, and then you will earn entries into the year-long read along, and there's also ways to earn bonus entries. So check out the details in the show notes and in the Ravelry group, and we will have 3 grand prize winners that will win an amazing assortment of lovely stuff, including at least 2 skeins of yarn each. So, I don't care what you read, as long as you're reading. And yes, audio books do count. Comic books count. All the things count as long as you're reading. You can even read the back of the cereal box if you want to. I just want to encourage you to start it originally because Dammy was in her gap year and she wasn't reading as much, and so I was encouraging her to read. So I told her to read 15 minutes a day. And I can't remember what I gave you as a prize when you did that for that first month, but I gave you something.
I have no idea.
But then other people were like, oh, can we do it? And will you continue doing it? And so it's become a thing. Okay. What I am reading. The Road Back to You, continuing to read that by Ian Morgan Cron and Suzanne Stabile. Continuing my reread of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, book 3 by J.K. Rowling, along with the Harry Potter and the Sacred Texts podcast and Swish and Flick and All Potter podcast. So the last chapter that I've read and listened to is it like the Slave of Voldemort or the I can't remember, whatever that chapter is, where we find out Peter Pettigrew was the bad guy. And I did read, just while I was waiting for Dammy to be ready to record, I read the next chapter where they are trying to get all of them up through the Whomping Willow, and then the Dementors come, and Peter Pettigrew turns back into a rat and runs away, and Lupin transforms, and Sirius transforms, and all heck is breaking loose. So I have not listened to those 2 chapter stuff, but I have read that. And then I finished reading Blood for Blood, which is the first book in the Zeba Mackenzie series by Victoria Selman. And that was really good. It was the It was one of the first read picks for Amazon Prime members. I think it was back in January. And so I enjoyed that. I finished reading book 10 of the In Death series by J.D. Robb. Really enjoying that. And I actually think, I just got the next book in the series today. I had it on hold and it came through. And then I'm reading the Anna Pigeon series by Nevada Barr. I finished books 5 and 6. But let me tell you a little story about book number 6.
Do tell.
The Anna Pigeon series. So yesterday in the morning time, the Dr. Hubbs and I were in the car. Luke II is his name. Driving to my dear friend Mel's house so that her husband and the Dr. Hubbs could do a little thing on our car. And I was going to have coffee with Mel. I think I already mentioned this. And her children, 4 children running around. It's fine. She homeschools them. And in the car, I was like, oh, I finished the book I was reading. I should start the next one. So this was the next in my queue to read. And I'm reading like the beginning stuff because I always love to read like the dedications and the acknowledgments. I just think it's so cool to see who the author is thanking and such. And so I'm reading this and I see something like, I can't remember the wording, but huge thanks to so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so of Carlsbad Caverns National Park? Carlsbad Caverns. It's part of the National Park Service. And for those who do not know, who are not aware, I went to high school and graduated class of 95 as a Carlsbad caveman.
I have the leather jacket.
You do have the leather jacket. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I flipped back and was like, what year was this book published? 1998, which is the year my sister graduated. And so I screenshot it and I sent it on over to my mama and I'm like, I just started reading this new book and this was in the front. And I was like, some of the last names sound familiar to me, but I'm not sure. Do you know any of them? And she didn't recognize any of them, but my dad looked as well and he didn't either. But and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I start reading the book, and it's all set in Carlsbad Caverns.
You're very excited about this.
Yes. So it did finally get part of the stuff was in the actual main Carlsbad Caverns that's open to the general public, but most of it happened in the. Hold on, I gotta look because I can't remember the name, but I still have the book, so hold on. Open. Let's see. Oh, come on, where is it at? Oh, there it is. The Lecha Cave, which is closed to the general public. You have to have a permit to be able to go. And I'm pretty sure they only do permits for like continued discovery of and mapping of the cave and for like preservation of the cave. So not just anyone can go into some of those caves that are there in Carlsbad. But it was just so cool. And I was like, it's not every day you read a book that's set in Carlsbad Caverns. So it made me laugh, and it was funny to do. But I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. So there you go. I was excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Another sip of water, and then television. Don't worry, I don't have as much to say this week. I watched 3 Hallmark movies. Emma Fielding Mysteries, More Bitter Than Death. I watched Love, Romance, and Chocolate, and I watched Chronicle Mysteries Recovered. And Chronicle Mysteries is a 3-part limited series. So I think the next one will be on this week, and then the next one the next week. So I finished season 1 of Travelers, and I'm watching season 2 now. And then I saw several people talking on the interwebs about this new television show that Netflix released on Friday the 15th, so just a few days ago, called the Umbrella Academy, and people were very, very um, pleased with it and enjoying it. I was like, well, I'm going to check it out. So it's based on a comic book series. And the basic premise, without giving away spoilers, is that on this, I can't remember what year it was. I want to say like 1980 or 1989, but like 45 women who were not pregnant suddenly gave birth to, to these children who all had powers. And an eclectic billionaire guy adopted 7 of them and trained them. But then, of course, there's discord, and their different ones are falling away and whatever. And so then the eccentric billionaire passes away, and so they all come back together, and then the world is going to end, and what's going to happen? It was a 10-episode series, season 1, and it ended on a freaking cliffhanger. But I enjoyed it. I think it was really, really well done, and I definitely enjoyed it. So if you are one that likes kind of comic book, nerdy, sci-fi, fantasy type stuff, you might enjoy it. Yeah, so I watched that. I'm continuing to watch Series 8 of Death in Paradise. Patrice, which is Florence's fiance, was killed. And Florence survived getting shot, but she is in the show, she's going away to grieve because there's just too much memories on the island. But we found out after that the actress is actually not coming back to the show. So, yeah. So there's a new character coming in for these last 2 episodes of the series 8, but I don't know if they'll continue on with her into season 9 or not. And then, excuse me, I don't have really anything to talk about the other ones, shows I'm watching, but that's Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Blind Spot Season 4, Blacklist Season 6, NCISLA Season 10, Supergirl Season 4, Call of Midwives Series 8, and Murdoch Mysteries Series 12. Sorry, this cold is kicking my butt. Listening to my favorite murder podcast. David Tennant does a podcast with Sir Ian McKellen.
Oh.
It was so interesting. I enjoyed it so much. Him talking about his, how he got into theater and acting. Then they also spent some time discussing the feelings and emotions and things around him coming out as gay later in life, and how that has affected his life and his acting and such, and how he feels like, when he has younger actors come to ask him about things like that. I think they discussed that, and they talked about lots of fun little details and things. So that was very enjoyable. But do be aware that it does have language in it, because David Tennant is a Scotsman, and he has things to say. Where was he born?
I don't know.
I think I knew at some point, but I don't know now.
He was born in Bathgate, West Lothian.
Oh, how close is that to the dear old Edinburgh?
I don't know, but nearby towns are Armadale, Blackburn, Linlithgow, Livingston, West Calder, and Whitburn.
Oh. Well, this map in IMDb is very unhelpful. Oh, wait, there it goes. So it is west of Edinburgh. So can you see Edinburgh right? Where's my finger? There. That is where David Tennant was born. The more you know, we'd love to give you random information because we are really cool like that. Dammy, what have you been listening to? Oh no, you froze. And I'm gonna keep singing a song till you come back. Dammy, you are frozen. Let it go, let it go. Oh, there you are, Dammy. What have you been listening to?
Can you please stop singing?
What have you been listening to? You've not been listening to me sing, apparently.
I've been listening to Cabin Pressure, but I also started listening to the French version of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the French Quebecois musical, just called Notre Dame de Paris. So,
When was it recorded? Do you know?
98.
Oh, wow.
So it predates the 2015 stage musical, but it's 2 years after the movie, and so.
That's also the year that your Aunt Carrie graduated high school, which I just talked about. How funny is that?
I know.
Okay, I think that's everything for this segment. We had a lot to talk about and sing about and all kinds of stuff. So let's move on to the next segment.
And now I'm going to talk about the December, January, February, walking into Winter Wonderland. Ow.
Walking in a winter wonderland.
There
we go. Tell us about it.
So this started on the 1st of December and it runs through the 28th of February. It's for any project that you can knit, crochet, weave, or spin that you can convince us is related to winter. But if you can't think of anything, your fallback is you made it in the winter. No whips are allowed for this alley. Your project must have been begun no earlier than the 1st of December and finished no later than the 28th of February. And each project of at least 20 yards that you finish and post in the FO thread counts as one entry into the giveaway. But if your project is not at least 20 yards, you need to group it in a single post with other projects that together total at least 20 yards.
Yes.
You can feel free to polydip and other alongs as long as it fits in with those rules. That's fine, including the great podcaster graph together. And there's a link to that in the show notes. We've got lots of lovely prizes on the screen right now. Thank you so much to everyone who donated prizes. If you would like to see closer up pictures of this or the shop from whence they came, you can go to our show notes, geekygirlsknit.com.
We are starting to pull together the prizes for the March, April, May Sheepy Spring along. So if you have a shop or whatever and would like to donate a prize, or if you are destashing stuff and want to donate some stuff to the podcast for prizes, if you'd like to donate a prize, you can email us at geekygirlsknit@gmail.com or PM me, Java Pearl on Ravelry. We have some prizes that are set aside especially for the spring along, and we'll be adding some other stuff from our prize box, but we're always happy to accept donations for prizes. So, okay, back to you.
So, you must be a member of the Geeky Girls Knit podcast group on Ravelry in order to participate. Just hit that join this group button up there at the top of the group page. There's a hashtag if you would like to post on social media or tag your projects. It's hashtag GGK Winter 1819. The FO thread is going to be logged on the morning of the 1st of March, and then winners will be drawn and announced on the next podcast following that. And any winners will have 30 days to claim their prize or they'll forfeit it. So there's also a chatter thread on Ravelry where you guys can post progress of your projects, talk to each other, and encourage each other. That's also where I give shout-outs for people who finished projects. And I also do that here. So why don't I do that right now as well?
Brilliant. Go for it.
Angie's Hip, Anita Cupcake Now, Army Wife 2102, Didor 4, Deb Knits 2, DG White, Elsa and M, I Know Hour, Falling Star 12, I Knit Socks 2, Jodadiah, JP Music 15, K2P2 Mama, Carlene Page, Kersey S, Knit Central, Knit Live Love, Knittin' Kitten 2, Knitter Chow, K Wilson 670, Lil Mermaid, Mooney Hiker, Misty K Schmidt, Mommy 2, Mystery Sewer, Knittin' Mama 3, Sassanaka Knits 219, Share 2014, Shirley Knits 123, Silver Luna 2112, VT Kim, Wombat Knitter, Yarn Taxi Driver, and Yellcat 2.
Great job, everybody. So,
oh, I've had blind lights on my face this whole time.
Well, but we've had the scroll of names for part of that. So when we record the podcast next week, it's going to be the 28th of February. which means when it goes live, it will already be March 1st. So this will be your last reminder to get your Winter Wonderland along projects posted. And then next week we will announce the spring along officially with prizes. And then we will announce the prize winners for the winter along on the podcast that we record on February the 6th. So that will be live on the 7th. So you will be able to watch then and see if you won a prize. All right. I think we're ready to move on to the next segment.
And now it's time for Ask the Geeky Girls, the part of our show where you ask us things and we try to answer them.
That's right. What is the question for today, Dammy?
This week's question is from Mary, who is Mary Brown from California. Cece, you have mentioned several kinds of sock heels you do not like to do. What type of sock heel do you use? I have your latest book, but could you expand on it a bit?
Okay. So the heels that I've talked about that I don't like to do is the afterthought heel, which is where you knit the whole sock and either put in waste yarn where you want to put the heel, or you cut yarn and then pick up the stitches and do the heel. It doesn't fit my heel very well. So I don't like that one. I don't like to do a heel flap and gusset because I don't want to pick up stitches. And it also really messes with how the yarn looks. If that doesn't bother you, it's totally fine. But I don't like where, making it down to that heel flap where it's like really, really tight. And then you do the heel turn and everything, and then you're picking up stitches. And I just don't like how it messes with the yarns you're using, especially self-striping. I've done the Fish Lips Kiss heel. The one that is our book that I have found from just informal gathering of data and information from people who have knit the heel that we use in all of our sock patterns now. There are a few older sock patterns that we haven't transitioned. We need to update those patterns, and it just hasn't happened yet. But all of our newer patterns have this modified short row heel where we use shadow wraps. There is a tutorial. If you go to any of our sock patterns on Ravelry that have this modified short row heel, there is a link there to a tutorial for how to do the modified short row heel. And I found, that's what I was saying, and I got off track. Just kind of from informal data gathering, it seems like about 90 to 95% of people that this heel works for them and it fits well on their heel. So, but what it is, so you can do it cuff down or toe up, which is also really cool. So you knit until you're ready to put your heel in. And then what you're going to do is do short rows back and forth until you get to just a few stitches left. And then you pick up all of those, which is not really picking up the shadow wrap stitches. It's knitting 2 stitches together or purling 2 stitches together that are coming out of the same stitch below. And then you do short rows working back out. And then you just pick up and start knitting in the round again. So you can see that even though it makes it have these 2 blue stripes really close to each other versus having the red and white and the pink and white stripe in between, it doesn't really detract from it. And it doesn't look really bad on the heel to have those little bit of wider stripes. Sometimes I will use contrasting toe heels cuffs so it doesn't break up the stitch pattern, but I didn't on these because I knew Dammy would be fine with it. And honestly, if somebody is looking that closely at my sock to care that much and are going to complain about it, then why am I why are you interested in my sock? Is that mean? If I like how it looks or the person I've knit it for likes how it looks, I think it's fine. Right?
Okay.
Okay. I feel like I'm rambling. So that is the heel that we use. It's a modified short row heel using shadow wraps. And if you go and look at the tutorial, I walk you through it, and it's a very easy technique to do. So the very first time I ever knit wrap and turn stitches was a mystery shawl pattern by Lethal Knits, and she taught it in the pattern using the shadow wraps method, and I fell in love. I tried to do other wrap and turn methods and just always came back to shadow wraps because I think it's so accessible, because essentially you're doing the same kind of technique as a lifted increase. And you're able to then just knit or purl the two stitches that are coming out of one stitch together versus actually picking up the wraps. So that is why, being that the main two reasons that I use this sock heel is it fits almost everyone comfortably, and it has a technique that I love to do and love how easy it is to do and like how it looks a lot, and that it helps maintain the integrity of the yarn, whether it is striping or self-striping or a variegated or a tonal or a grady or whatever it is. So that is why I do that. Dammy, have you ever knit a sock pattern that you did not use our sock heel on?
Only at the very beginning when I didn't know about it.
Yeah. Did we do heel flap and gusset?
Yeah. It wasn't fun.
That's how I was taught when I learned to do socks, was heel flap and gusset. And I can do it. Again, it's just the reasons that I shared that it's not my preferred method. So Mary, I hope that answers your question. I hope that's helpful. Dammy, would you put a note for me in the show notes and highlight it to put a link there directly to the tutorial video on YouTube that we made of how to do the wrap and turns? And that way that's easily accessible for y'all. You can just go to the show notes. But like I said, you can also go to almost all of our sock patterns on Ravelry, and there's a link there. All right. So, Dammy, if somebody has a question for us, what should they do?
Go to our Ask the Geeky Girls thread in our Ravelry group and post it.
And we really need you to do that because we're almost out of questions again. So, ask us anything. There has not been one single question that we have not been willing to answer. So, literally ask us anything. If it ever gets to a point where it's like, no, we just can't answer that, we will let you know. But at this point, we've never had a question that went into a place that we weren't willing to chat with y'all about. So that's part of what we love about the podcast, is we really do share our lives with y'all, and y'all see, for the most part, the whole nitty gritty of who we are. Yeah. So, and we love that. We love that. We love that we can share that with y'all. All right. I think we're ready to move on to the next segment. And we made it to the end of the show. Yay! Technology. It's a pain in the butt. Okay. I don't think we have any announcements. We should be on schedule for regular recording of the podcast. You'll be home during spring break so we can record in person.
Yes.
That'll be fun. That way we won't have to deal with technology gremlins, hopefully. So, so since there's no announcements, let's talk about a huge thank you to everybody who supports our podcast no matter how you do it, whether you're just watching, if you're commenting in the episode threads on Ravelry, if you're participating in the alongs, if you're participating in the read along, if you watch on YouTube and give a thumbs up, if you watch via iTunes and download the episode, anything, even if you're just watching and you don't do anything else, even if you're just watching, thank you so much. Because we would not be doing this podcast if it wasn't for y'all. So, we love you guys so much. But we want to give a huge thank you, tell you we love you guys.
Yeah.
To those of you who support the podcast financially, because unfortunately it does cost money to do the podcast. There are lots of little expenses here and there. Shipping is our biggest expense because we ship out prizes to y'all quarterly because of the alongs, but also sometimes we have special giveaways or whatever, and we have to pay for the postage to ship those out. And especially if it's international, that makes the postage even higher. And the post office just keeps raising the rates. So, thank you so much to those of you who support the podcast financially. If you haven't been and would like to, there are 3 ways you can support the podcast financially. First, and the main way, is a site called Patreon, which is what you do is you pledge a certain amount per month to your favorite creatives. It's kind of like the PBS telethons of days gone by, you know? So you pledge a certain amount a month and you get a rewards based on your level. If you'd like to learn more about it or want to sign up, Dammy, where do they go?
Patreon.com/geekygirlsknit.
What's another way?
There's a PayPal button in the sidebar of our website if you would like to make a one-time donation.
And we are Amazon.com, .co.uk, and .ca affiliates. If you're going to buy something on Amazon, if you go to our website first and click on the appropriate icon, either in the sidebar or at the bottom of each podcast show notes posts, and then do your shopping, it doesn't cost you anything extra. And then Amazon gives us a little money back based on what you purchased. So it's a great way to support the podcast by doing something you would be doing anyway. So with that, we're going to tell you goodbye. We hope you have a lovely rest of your week. Dammy, there's rumors that we're going to get snow again. But it shouldn't be Snowmageddon, last I heard. I am consulting the weather. Currently, it is saying rain and snow showers on Saturday night and Sunday morning. And rain and snow showers on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. But they're saying, let me scroll back to close to. For Saturday and Sunday, they're saying about 1 inch of snow. So it's not the 18, 14, whatever that we got last time during Snowmageddon. So, yeah. I was like, last night in a group, I was like, I have never seen this much snow in person in my life. It was insanity. Insanity. So, if you are in the path of any of this weather, make sure you are staying safe and warm and that you're hydrating yourself. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water and that you're taking care of yourself and those you love. If there's somebody in your life that you don't see very often, but they are on their own, give them a call. Just check in on them. Send them a text. Pop by. Just make sure they're doing okay, especially if there's some elderly people in your neighborhood or people that are disabled or have some struggles. Check on them. Just make sure they're doing okay. Yeah, because we need to remember to take care of our community. That's the truth. So, with that, we'll tell you goodbye. Happy knitting. We'll talk to you next week. Bye. We're waiting for our Dammy so we can record with her.
I was like, why did you say hurry? What's wrong?
Because somebody came over and wanted to be on the podcast. Well, did I tickle your ear?
Okay.
What? Oh, really? Would you like to tell them about your week? Oh my goodness. So Pink Pearl has decided that she should never be left at home alone at all.
Ever again.
As she stages a hunger strike when we leave. So I was gone yesterday to my friend Mel's house, and then I went to knitting last night, and we got home, and she was on the banister waiting like, how could you leave me for so long? How could you leave me? Don't you love me? Right here. Look right here, Dammy. Dear Dammy. Hi, Dammy. She can't hear you because I've got headphones in.
I know that, but it still feels weird to not say anything.
Oh, did you hear her? Oh, do you want down? Okay, can you say bye-bye to Dammy and bye-bye to the people? Okay, happy episode 333, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Love you, people. Love you, Dammy. Okay, get down. There we go.